in that intro thing.
Eureka.
We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day, yeah.
Okay.
We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day, yeah. We make plays every day, yeah.
Woo, we're talking about the gang on this one. Gold-blooded on this one. Hey, hey. Welcome to the Real Fantasy Playmakers. I am your host, Bogart Scott Free. And we ain't even gonna delay this thing. We straight out the gate. Hold on, give me 1 second. We gonna crack this beer one time because it's been a long day. And you know what I'm saying? I want to welcome in a returning guest that we are proud to have on. You know what I'm saying? It's my man, Sky, from the Candlestick Kids podcast. What's happening?
Yo, Bogart, I'm so happy to be back, man. Very, very excited for this TCK pod in the play. Super stoked to break down the 49ers, man. I don't get many opportunities to straight up like rep the 49ers because I try to be as unbiased as possible and try to give adequate information. But let's get at it, man. I'm excited.
I have to say, I 100% feel you because, I mean, it's our job as analysts to cover all 32 teams and then, like, you know, being very vocal about the fact that we are Niner fans. You know, we almost have to, like, when we talk about them, it's almost hard to, like, when you call a spade and it happens to be a good thing that we're calling, people will be like, oh, you're just a Niner fan. You know what I mean? When it's like, listen, I call a spade. You know what I mean? And in this case, we are privileged to have two gold-blooded members of the gang. Bang, bang. You know what I'm saying? We up in this thing. You know what I mean? But okay, so we are definitely going to talk about, you know, the 49ers, like we just said. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna take a deep dive look at the 2020 outlook. And before we handle all that, we're going to go ahead and handle some of this good old housekeeping. You know what I'm saying? Follow me at the GMM Network on IG. Follow me at the GMM Network on Twitter. Also, you can follow me at Bogart Scott Free World on IG. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. And also check out rumboys.com for all the latest and greatest articles from our innovative team of writers. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the gang. You feel me? And also check out rumboys.com for all our merch. You know what I'm saying? And while you're at it, you know what I mean? You might as well also check out our new sponsor, Monkey Knife Fight. You know what I mean? We do got sports coming back. You know what I mean? And man, if you're a DFS lover like myself, Scott, you fuck with DFS at all?
Of course.
Oh yeah, that was a stupid question. I forgot who I was talking to. You know what I mean? But yeah, so for all y'all out there, go ahead on Monkey Knife Fight, make an account, use promo code RUMBOYS, all capital. That's RUMBOYZ. Use promo code RUMBOYS. We'll go ahead and match your first deposit all the way up to $50. You know what I'm saying? And I would suggest throwing that $50 because, you know what I'm saying, why not have $100 to go and play with? You know, we got sports coming back. We're going to speak that into existence. You know what I mean? We've already had UFC, so we all had fun with that. You know what I mean? And I mean, just it's time to start getting back to this normalcy when it comes to this DFS. So go to Monkey Knife Fight, use promo code RUMBOYS, and get your first deposit matched all the way up to $50. Hey, and one more thing, one more bill to pay. Shout out to our sponsor, Milk and Honey TX. For all your CBD wellness and all your CBD goodness, visit milkandhoneytx.com. Hey, okay, all the bills paid. Sky, how you doing, man? Welcome back.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, and I want to, give your listeners an opportunity to check out what we're doing as well.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to say because that was your turn next. After the sponsors, let them know where they can find you, Sky, and all the content, the lovely content.
Of course, bro. No worries.
Hey, and thank you too. Thank you for for catching that right there. You know what I mean? I would have just breezed by that. I was too excited to have you back. You know what I mean?
I got you, man. You gotta handle your business, and no worries, man. It's all love. Yo, so please, the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Podcast, also aka TCK Pod. You can find us on Instagram at fantasyfootball_TCK Pod, on Twitter at TCK_pod. We're everywhere you listen to your podcast. Please leave a rate and review. You can also check out our YouTube channel as well, the Candlestick Kids. And then you can please check out our website, tckpod.com as well. So we're all over the place. We got a number of writers on our team as well. Shouts out to my co-host, Lucas Case, for bringing the heat.
Yep, shout out to Lucas.
So Yeah, so big ups, man. Bogart, again, it's a pleasure to be back on the program, and let's get into this and have some fun.
Yeah, man. Okay, well, we're just going right to it. You know what I'm saying? In the first round, man, I loved what we did in this first round of the draft, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it pained me to ship off Buckner, but we essentially got Buckner 2.0 now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So, you know what I'm saying? Well, give me a little take you have on our first round pick here.
Yeah, so first of all, for those that don't know, I reside in Eugene, Oregon, so I'm a Duck. I went to University of Oregon, so DeForest Buckner is extra special to me, just watching his career with the Ducks. So, dude, he is a fucking monster. The Colts got a great interior lineman. So
I'm happy he got a bag too. I'm happy he was able to get his bag over there.
Likewise, man. So I'm definitely rooting for him for sure, and I'll be paying attention to that Indianapolis D line a little closer this year. But as far as Javon Kinlaw, man, dude's a beast. D tackle out of South Carolina. I mean, he's essentially the biggest thing you can take away from SEC defensive linemen is that they're basically playing NFL linemen in the NFC, right? Alabama, Auburn, Florida. Oh yeah. You got all these teams who are just loaded with NFL talent, and he is able to just wreck shop up the middle there.
He's a day one starter.
He is, and like you said, I mean, DeForest Buckner's a beast, but we get a younger version of him.
Yeah, for cheaper, so it's also it's business as usual, and I actually like what Lynch has been doing. I mean, aside from his streak, his early streak of bad luck with our first rounders, you know what I mean? Like prior to Bosa, at least Bosa was a no brainer, but prior to that, looking back with Foster or even Thomas not so much panning out his ceiling wise, you know what I mean? I love this pick right here.
Yeah, me too. And to break it down a little bit further, so basically what happened is, so the Colts and the 49ers made that trade, so DeForest Buckner goes to the Colts from the Niners. The Niners actually get the 13th pick overall from the Colts, then mid-draft, the Buccaneers.
We called Uncle Bruce.
That's right. The Buccaneers and the Niners swap picks there. So the Niners were able to move up and get Javon Kinlaw. Now, you and I are 49er fans as fans, so we appreciate the defense as well. And we have arguably the best defensive line in NFL already, which is great. And obviously the returning rookie of the year and Bosa and everybody else. So we're crushing. And
I wasn't 100% sold by any means on DJ Jones. So
sure.
He was great. Like he's great, to rotate in and out. You know what I mean, and spell Armstead or even Kinlaw. You know what I mean. So I love this pick, bro. Like, as a fantasy analyst, I kind of was like, there was a big part of me, even when we were covering the draft, there was a big part of me where I wanted CeeDee Lamb just because
Me too. So did I.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because I love the shiny new toy. I love Nuke Hopkins. I love my man Nuke Skywalker. He was drawing the Skywalker comparison. You know what I mean? But then, when we trade back and then in hindsight, it's just like, man, in Lynch we trust, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, 100%. And actually, I super duper trust in Lynch and Kyle Shanahan.
Oh yeah.
So I'm into that, man. I got a childhood buddy of mine that I grew up with and played Little League and Pop Warner shit with. He's actually he's one of the assistant coaches for the 49ers as well. So
nice.
definitely got some family in the place. More than just a fan. And again, I was also hoping that we would get CeeDee Lamb was my choice over Judy personally. But actually, what I was thinking what I was hoping we would do, and thinking what we would do anyway was, even though we went Javon Kinlaw, which I like the move, I think it was surprising to regular fans, and certainly in fantasy we weren't excited about it because we wanted a true number one threat, which I know we'll get to our second pick here in a minute. But I was actually thinking that we could go Javon Kinlaw or CeeDee Lamb and then double up in the first round at that 25th pick. And I actually like T. Higgins. He's my dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was thinking,
I'm excited for him over there in Indy.
Cincinnati.
Oh, Cincinnati. You might be. I'm sorry.
But my my dream fantasy draft for the 49ers was going to be CeeDee Lamb at 14 and then T. Higgins at 25. But obviously they're trying to build a franchise. Lynch is defense focused, which he should be. We just got rid of DeForest Buckner. We got to fill that hole. I thought it was smart. It wasn't a sexy pick, but I think it was the right pick at 114 with Javon Kinlaw.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. Okay, well, all right. Well, let's get to Brandon IU, or as I like to call him, Ayukin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I think
I'm a
He's
big Street
awesome
Fighter
too,
head.
man. And again, us being on the West Coast and, me being a Duck, and I grew up a Cal Bear as well. So, watch a lot of Pac-10 and Pac-12 football over the years. And Brandon Ayuk's the truth, man, coming out of Arizona State University. People, will remember Hakeem Butler, or I'm sorry, N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry came out last year. Hakeem Butler was Iowa State. That's my bad. Same colors. I got it mixed up.
Yeah, no, understandable.
N'Keal Harry, man, came out last year. Of course, he got hurt. Didn't really pan out for the Patriots. Hopefully a sleeper this year. But Brandon Ayuk was kind of buried last year for the Sun Devils, but he comes out this year, absolutely beasts up, and he actually racked up he was the number one receiver in college football in yards after catch. And we know that we have Deebo Samuel already.
Yeah, Yak Masters. Yeah.
George Kittle was the number one tight end in that category. We know that we've got four running backs who are able to make moves.
Don't we got like 12 running backs?
Exactly.
We got them all.
I'm really excited about that. We also have Jalen Hurd that nobody talks about, who I think is going to come out swinging. He got hurt last year and didn't get a chance.
Yep. I love hell of a story for that kid too, man. Hell of a story.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. So I think we have a number of players who are not your stereotypical, prototypical number one receivers, but Debo's going to get his. Brandon Ayuk's going to be a beast. Jalen Hurd, I think, is going to be an animal. He was actually a running back at Tennessee for a minute too.
And he switched over to receiver.
He's going to be awesome. George Kittle, obviously, is the man, and I think
I think Jimmy 2 years removed off an ACL. I mean, I think we're going to start seeing Jimmy break this pocket a little more because, come on, Shanahan's system has bootlegs and rollouts. I mean, we've seen how we've seen it utilized with Nick Mullins, or even when you go back to even going back to Daddy Shanahan's system with Elway, you know what I mean? Like, this system has rollouts and bootlegs, you know what I mean? So, and with Jimmy not basically being 80% all season, and he even vocalized that. You know what I mean? I mean, if we can get Jimmy at 100% or even another full year under his belt, you know what I mean? I think we might see him passing more. I think we might open up that playbook just a little more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And I think the biggest thing that concerns me about Jimmy is as the starter and really just putting up. Obviously, the Niners were the second highest scoring team in the NFL last year.
Talk that shit. Yeah.
Mainly behind the run. And we're about a 5-yard overthrow from winning the Super Bowl. So clearly the Niners know what we're doing. But my concern with Jimmy and just that offense in general is that out of 40 qualifying quarterbacks last year, Jimmy Garoppolo was 38th in ADOT. So average depth of target, just 6.5 yards.
Yeah.
So again, he likes to get it out.
I was going to say, he was kind of Derek Carr-esque as far as that category goes.
That's actually, he was right behind Derek Carr. Yep. And actually, to give a little bit of perspective and to give some hope on that, it's not totally terrible because Drew Brees was actually behind Jimmy Garoppolo. So
I was about to say. Granted, he missed 5 weeks, but still, nonetheless, on a per game basis, yes, his average ADOT is down there at the bottom.
Yep, just 6.43, and Jimmy was 6.53. So honestly, it's not terrible for them to throw short passes.
When you got playmakers, you can put the ball in the hands of the playmaker. That's all that matters. You know what I mean?
That's it, and especially when we have these guys, Yak Masters, that definitely helps out. So I think the Niners, I think they got a nice grab there in Brandon Ayuk. I like him a lot.
And it makes me even love Debo that much more because Debo's value in fantasy he does carry that mid-round capital in 12-team redrafts, and I mean they use him in different facets. Obviously, you know what I mean, hit him with screens and hit him, and even give him some carries here and there. But I do worry about the efficiency, him being able to repeat the same efficiency. But this time he's gonna have a whole season, because it took him about 8 weeks to get acclimated. The Shanahan system is pretty intricate. You know what I mean? So,
sure.
And that's gonna be the same thing for young Brandale. You know what I'm saying? But see, and here's the thing too is when you look at his measurables, you know what I mean? He has an 80-inch wingspan, and that was the same thing as CeeDee Lamb. So it's granted, I'm not gonna put him in the same category as Joe Williams, but. I mean, he pounded the Shanahan, when he pounds the table for his guys, I mean, because he had Brandon Ayuk at the top of his list as far as the receivers. You know what I mean? So we got our guy.
That's it. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I think that that's really important. Again, as fantasy analysts, we kind of we have a little bit of tunnel vision because we want the fireworks. We want the guys that are going to put up the most points. But you have to realize that, on the NFL level, obviously they're trying to build the right players for their particular system. And as much as we want CeeDee Lamb and T. Higgins, it did come out after the fact that, Brandon Ayuk was the guy that the 49ers thought about in their system. That's because he can catch a 4-yard slant and turn it into a 25-yard gain. Yeah. We don't need those bombers because Jimmy Garoppolo is not that type of quarterback. Yeah. I honestly do not think Jimmy Garoppolo would be that good. Just throwing, I'm a Niner fan through and through, but I'm staunch on this. I do not think Jimmy Garoppolo would be that good or very successful in the NFL if he was in, let's say, a Falcons offense or a Chiefs offense where it was downfield bombs all the time. Yeah, he's not that type of quarterback. So if he's able to kind of dink and dunk more or less with the play action bomb here and there, I think that really pertains to his game, helps the overall offense. Therefore, I think Brandon Ayuk is a great grab there in the second round.
Okay, real quick.
First round.
I'm gonna veer off just a second. Okay, I wanna because I don't want to bring up the loss in the Super Bowl, but if I remember correctly, we did talk the first time. We did bring you on. That was already after the Super Bowl. I think if I remember correctly, it was around the rumors with the Tom Brady perhaps coming to the Niners. Remember that?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and so speaking of the Super Bowl, because you were talking about how we were just 5 yards away from perhaps. Making it 27-24, and we would have been able to play our style of defense again with the lead, whether it being 3 points or not. Just playing with a lead is our style, where we could really get after the quarterback and whatnot. But how I go to sleep at night, bro? Is that the Niners? We perhaps might have saved the world, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know where I'm going with this?
Sure.
Because the first recorded corona cases in Kansas City was March 18th. So that was well after the Super Bowl, well after the parade even, more specifically. And I'm not knocking the Chiefs organization, but they're definitely going to be one of those, after this Super Bowl win, there's going to be tons of kids from all over the world that are going to grow up Chiefs fans because of one Patrick Mahomes, right? But with that said, the Niners are a storybook franchise. We do have fans all across the nation and around the world, and people that grew up here and then moved elsewhere and et cetera. And if we would have won that Super Bowl, we would have had the biggest, fattest parade. And our earliest corona cases were late January, early January. You know what I'm saying? All over the Bay, all over Santa Clara County, all over San Francisco. Yep. Bro, it could have spiked the pandemic worse than it is. You know what I mean? So when Jimmy G, the hero, handsome hero Jimmy G, when he seen wide open Manny Sanders, he was like, "It's time to save the world." And that's how I go to sleep at night. You know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate the take, man, and I hope that you're right. And now that we have this situation happening, and hopefully we get it under wraps and do have a season, and hopefully this is the only time we see it in our lifetimes.
Imagine how many people would have hated us. There's already a lot of people that hate us. Bro, if we would, it would have been bittersweet to be champions, but then maybe be directly responsible for spiking up this pandemic. People would have came from all over for the parade. They went home with the most fucked up parting gift ever. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Well, hopefully we can try again this year, man. I'm excited for the season.
Hey, with that 7th seed, I feel pretty good about our chances.
Yes, sir. Me too.
Yeah. Okay, so let's continue. So you know what I mean? Is there any? I know we're kind of speeding through this thing, but. Outside of the first round, is there any other standouts? I mean, I definitely love the trade for Trent Williams. Love that.
Yeah, I'll just bring those up real quick. So the trade, of course, we get Trent Williams, who held out last year because the Washington franchise is, in my opinion,
Snyder's just
one of the worst, if not the worst, in the entire NFL for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
But Trent, he just had not been. He's an All-Pro, man. He's one of the best in the league, maybe one of the best ever at his particular position.
Oh shit! I just remembered something. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it the Shanahans? Weren't they?
Yes.
Weren't they the ones there in Washington when they drafted him?
Exactly.
Yeah. So at 31, being younger than Staley, hey man, shout out to Joe Staley, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Go live your
life.
Yeah, man, love the guy, man.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely, and he gave us a full career, and blessings to his retirement. And he's a Hall of Famer, but now we bring in potentially another Hall of Famer who's still got some tread on the tires, man, just to fill that gap. And obviously more
familiar with
athletic at
that
this point in
zone
his
run
life.
scheme, that
Exactly.
beautiful zone run that we are known for.
And he's fresh with a year off. He's still been working out. He was basically unemployed last year because he sat out. So he needed to kind of prove himself to make sure that he got a team. And honestly, I think the Niners got a steal, bro. This is not being talked about at all because he's an offensive lineman. It's not part of the draft, but this happened during the draft.
Yeah, so it's part of our draft class now.
Oh, 100%, dude. And honestly, I think with the draft class that we got, I straight up think that this acquisition of Trent Williams is the most important that the 49ers got in the draft.
I mean, and because we obviously knew, in-house, we knew Staley was on the way out. What I mean? So, when that happened, bro, I jumped out of my seat. I was like, hell yeah.
Me too. I thought it was huge. So that's a big fill, obviously, there. And then the other two were actually players that we let go, and I wish them both well. But that was Matt Breida going out to Miami. I think he gets a shot. He gets a real shot. I think
shout out to the Cheetah.
Yep, to be the starter. I just don't. I mean, Jordan Howard is going to be the early downs guy, but Matt Breida is a beast when he stays healthy. I think he'll be just fine in Miami. I'm rooting for him for sure. And then Marquise Goodwin, who I just root for as a human being, man. He's been through some real tough shit with his kids and stuff.
I know, man.
But he adds a huge, deep element there to Philadelphia. He didn't play last year much with injuries and whatnot, so he gets a chance to rekindle that in Philadelphia and add a huge weapon for Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I mean, because think about this, too. The last time we've seen, the Philly offense be in full force, in that Andy Reid system, because it is the Andy Reid system, even though it's Doug Peterson, you know what I mean? You need that outside burner, you know what I mean? So, and when Deshaun Jackson, I mean, we've seen a taste of it week one, and then because it kind of reminded me back when they had Torrey Smith over there, and they had that Super Bowl run where it's like when you got that right, and then they were missing that last year with Deshaun Jackson going down, and now so granted he's part of the depth chart, but I mean I'm pretty sure we'll see more Marquise Goodwin than Deshaun Jackson, because I mean Marquise Goodwin is an Olympic track runner, right? Or not Olympic, but Olympic level.
Olympic level, yeah. He has like the legit qualifications on speed to be Olympic level, absolutely. Yeah. And so to add on to just kind of the rest of this draft class, obviously it's not really pertinent to fantasy football, so maybe I'll just blaze through it. But in the fifth round, we get Colton McKivitz, who's he's an offensive tackle, West Virginia. But again, bringing in Trent Williams, and bringing in some legit depth in a run-first offense that needs to protect Jimmy Garoppolo. I thought that was a great move in the fifth round. Then
great value, too.
Yeah, Charlie Warner.
Definitely a project, but yes, great value.
Charlie Warner is more of a blocking tight end out of Georgia. Again, we have George Kittle. That's not going to change.
But we do run a significant amount of 12 personnel, so that's definitely needed. I mean, I think do we still have Toy Lolo and Ross Dwelly is not really a blocking tight end by any means. Yeah, so this is a good pickup. Like it's a system fit.
And again, we need those bodies up front that can help with the run game primarily. So that's in the sixth round. And then honestly, I think one of the late steals of the draft overall was Jawan Jennings out of Tennessee in the seventh round. We basically get him for free. He's an awesome complimentary wide receiver out there from Tennessee. So, I think, the Niners Debo and Kittle are kind of like the names. But the Niners have a lot of pieces they have a lot of depth, they have a lot of burst, they have a lot of big playmakers. And I really believe that, obviously you and I are, homers, but I really do believe when I look at every team that like the Niners are set to basically replicate next season if everybody stays healthy. And I'm going to throw this out there because I know, most of your listenership are Bay folks and 49er fans probably as well.
100%.
Like I'm super confident.
On Handsome Hero?
In Nick Mullins.
Oh, Nick Mullins. Oh, yeah. No,
you
did reference this before. Yeah,
that's my dog. I'm not. If Jimmy goes down, I'm not panicking personally.
I love Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins is the guy. So I'm just going to throw that out there. That the only part of the 49ers offense that could suffer an injury and really change things, first of all, I think it's George Kittle. That'd be huge.
Yeah.
But if it was Jimmy Garoppolo, I think Nick Mullins could come in and be what Jimmy is. I don't know that Nick is
I don't think
as good a quarterback, but he could do what Jimmy does in this offense.
Yeah, I don't think the production level is going to drop, is what you're saying. If you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Yeah, and I mean, he's been in the system. He's a Shanahan guy. He's been in the system. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure we're not going to bring back Beathard again. It's another guy, man. Hell, condolences to the fam. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Unfortunately, what happened to his brother, and and we love CJ Beathard, but it's a no-brainer. Nick Mullins is second on the depth chart. Now, okay, before we move on, the hero, man, the handsome hero. Are we looking at him at all? Superflex? Are we doing this thing? Streaming option? Are we looking at him?
You know what, man? I'm not crazy about it, to be honest with you. And
I don't mind having him as my third QB in a Superflex. You know what I mean?
That sounds fine to me. Right now, I've got Jimmy as, let's see. I'm going to bring up my rankings while I'm talking
good,
here
man.
real quick. So I just want to make sure I'm up to date on that. Honestly, I don't think Superflex totally. I don't want him as my QB1. That's for sure. QB2 even, I think he'd be fine with streaming, but I'm not crazy about him. I do have him right now at QB19. He's behind Big Ben, Goff.
That's
Minshew.
not bad. You're actually higher. I have him at 22. So
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I can. You know what I'm saying? If we had a consensus going between me and you, yeah, I'd have him around 20. Right?
Yeah, and honestly, man, it'll just take me a second. I can just read you my little paragraph that I wrote up about him real quick
bust it.
to make that. So
I want to give the Playmakers a little taste of, you know what I'm saying? Also, your writing skills is not as well as, as well as, I don't like to call us talking heads, analysts, as well as analysts who vocalizes out loud. You also are a writer.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And it's just a real quick kind of a player preview that I have up on my rankings on our site and stuff. But I've got him at QB19 right now, and I actually have the designation of a void. So I have target, sleeper, and a void, right, as three different things.
Yeah.
And I have him as a void, and here's why. Because in that other range, there are bigger upside quarterbacks. There are rushing quarterbacks. Drew Lock, Joe Burrow.
Love Drew Lock.
Derek Carr even, which I know isn't sexy, but like Marcus Mariota's my dog too if he gets a chance. Tyrod Taylor even. I think have bigger upside.
Right. With your
upside.
duck correlation with Mariota.
Totally.
That's right.
Yeah, well, and then Herbert as well when he gets a chance. But,
Oh, that's right.
Jimmy, I don't dislike Jimmy at all, but for fantasy, like he's rarely going to put up like a 30 week. He might, he'll put up 15 to 18, 20 weekly, which is very steady and great as a second quarterback in Superflex. And as a third quarterback, I think he's a steal because that's great value and that's great stability on your roster. But as a QB1, he lacks that upside. He's never going to throw more than 3 touchdowns. He's never going to run for 80 yards in a game. It's not the type of scheme and quarterback that he is. So basically I said I want to rank him higher, but I'm not sure that his 69.1 completion percentage, which is 4th best in the NFL, which is obviously very impressive.
Yeah,
will keep him.
But it also correlates with that shorter A dot. It was easy completions.
That is exactly what I was going to say.
Numbers like that could be skewed, but this is why we're here for the Playmakers, to let them open their eyes a little bit, because a lot of people don't do deep dives like yourself. So this is great information right here. Okay, continue.
And so that's it right there. That's the comparison. So it's basically like I'm not sure that his 69% completion percentage, which is 4th best in the league, will keep up and keep him above into that QB1 range with a 40th in deep passer rating of 6.5% of his throws. Right, so he was 38th in ADOT, which I already mentioned. But, again, they surrounded him with more weapons. So the Niners drafted Brandon Ayuk and Jawan Jennings, as I mentioned. They've already got Debo, and they got Jalen Hurd coming back, and they've already got Kittle as well. I think, my man, the dark horse of the entire football team, in my opinion, is actually Jeff Wilson, who's the 4th running back right now, but I think he's the 2nd most talented. I don't believe in McKinnon. I don't think Tevin Coleman's that good.
JWJ, Jeff Wilson Jr.
That's my dog, man. I think he's this year's Mostert. Last year at this time, non-49er fans didn't know who Raheem Mostert was, right? He was buried.
I loved Mostert even, what I'm saying? I was worried about him coming off that injury, but it wasn't like it was a leg injury. Remember he had that nasty.
Broke his arm.
Yeah, it was nasty. You know what I'm saying? But also, in fantasy, when you're looking for a value, go ahead and get that later running back from the Niners. I mean, like everyone was on Breida last year or Coleman.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And it was like, yo, by week 2, I mean after week 1, Mostert was already that hot waiver wire pickup. You know what I mean?
And honestly, like, you know, going into sleepers and all that shit is a whole other episode we can do some other time. But because we're talking about the 49ers, like, I truly believe this. I mean, somebody that you can get in Dynasty for sure for free right now and also in redraft leagues is Jeff Wilson Jr., who's the 4th running back on the depth chart. Nobody knows who he is. I'm telling you right now, dude, I'm staking my claim in May, and I've been saying this shit since the Super Bowl happened. I think he is this year's Mostert. McKinnon's not going to last. Coleman isn't who they want. I think Shanahan just feels connected to him with the time in Atlanta. Mostert, as much as I love him, is not necessarily going to be, you know, the every downs back because Shanahan wants multiple guys.
Do you buy into him putting on like 15 pounds of muscle mass, like so he can? Because he's talking about being able to shoulder a load like, you know, over 200 carries.
Sure, and I do, and I think that that's excellent, and I think that it's awesome that he's taking his opportunity as seriously as he is. My issue with that is it's not up to him. Shanahan wants multiple backs, period.
I mean, even as much as Mostert went off last year, 100% of those games was still started by Tevin Coleman as long as he was healthy. If Tevin Coleman was healthy, he was out there in the first play. You know what I mean?
Bro, when Raheem Mostert ran for 4 touchdowns against the Packers to get us to the Super Bowl, and then Tevin Coleman got the start, I almost didn't watch the game, bro.
Hey, bro, I was at those games, bro.
I was pissed. I was so upset about that. I was like, man, it just doesn't make sense. I understand having loyalties, but come on, dog. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my dog. I mean, like the super dark horses that I love for the dynasty on this team that nobody talks about are Nick Mullins. And there's already talk about bringing in Brady, shipping out Garoppolo this year. That might happen next year. Honestly, I think I have a kind of a hot take, if you will. I don't think it's out of the question that maybe Aaron Rodgers is a 49er
I love
next
that.
year.
I mean, he's our fellow faithful. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, dude, he's Tom Brady all over again in that, like, he grew up a 49er.
Yep, and he's very disgruntled where he's at. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They will move on, and I know that he has like 4 years left on his contract, but if I remember correctly, like in the next 2 seasons, or even if they trade him away, but even if they just release him, they don't take much of a cap hit. So
no.
And granted, I mean, I'm pretty sure someone like New England, a place like that, is probably thinking the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe we'll wait around and see if we can get Rodgers. But I would love Rodgers with his big old gigantic eyeballs to come to the Niners.
Hey, and honestly, he would love it too, man, to have that legacy. And Tom Brady considered it as well before Tampa Bay too. So anyway, man, we're getting on all these tangents, but
also, okay, before we move on, he would love to maybe right that wrong, because this kind of haunted him in his whole career. Just the Niners are going to rue the day. They're going to regret this. And it's like, hey, you know, if we make it right, you know, how a decade and some change later, you know, 16 years later.
Aaron Rodgers has wanted to be a 49er his entire life, and he's been pissed at the 49ers since 2005. So I'm with you, man. If we can go ahead and get that happening, you know, he's a Chico kid, went to Cal Berkeley, you know, like, Butte College. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Butte College, for those of you out there, you know, I mean, he's the dude. So anyway, long tangent, but basically, like, I believe in Nick Mullins, I believe in Jeff Wilson Jr., and those are kind of guys that are completely slipped behind the cracks. But if Jimmy goes down, I believe in Mullins. If Coleman and McKinnon go down, which I think they potentially could, or just not hack it, I think Jeff Wilson is absolutely RB2 quality for the 49ers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I know between the two of us, we'll be able to kind of rapid fire this thing. Let's just go ahead and smack on through this schedule we got, because, you know what I'm saying, we got the official schedule. And mind you kind of referenced this earlier, but I 100% saved this episode to bring you back on. You know what I mean?
My man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I'm like, yo, this is even though my co-host is also a Niner fan, you know, we're too much brothers. We even argue about the Niners. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I want to bring someone who could, you know what I mean? We can have this conversation level-headed, and this is great so far. I love it. I'm patting myself on the back. I knew to bring the right guy on, and why not bring the Candlestick Kid, Sky himself, right?
Man, I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, and let's get in the schedule. And if you don't mind, I don't mean to step on toes. But,
no. Because I know we have time constraints, but let's do it.
Yeah, let me just set up like what the schedule actually We'll talk it through each game really quick, and I'll give you a record prediction and all that stuff as we go along. But I wanted to just kind of mention that so that the schedules did come out, the official schedules for the NFL. The 49ers ended up with the 29th ranked schedule. So that means the fourth most difficult. Yeah. Fourth most difficult. And this is important. This is based on opponents' combined record for 2019. Yep. So only the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins have a tougher schedule than the 49ers. Yep. Last year, based on last year's opponent's record, the 49ers will face teams with a 0.52 winning percentage, which is just 10 off of the worst. So 134, 120, and 2 are the records from the teams from last year in this schedule for the Niners. So they have the 29th most difficult. And for perspective, the Baltimore Ravens, who don't need any more help, have the easiest schedule of the entire
league. They really want them to get it, don't they? The NFL is like, we got to get this kid Jackson one.
Yeah. So anyway, the Ravens, Steelers, Cowboys, Browns, and Redskins have the top 5 schedules, and the Patriots, Jets, Dolphins, Niners, and Falcons have the 5 most difficult. So I just want to kind of preview that really quick, that what we're looking at here as a franchise.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely puts in perspective on, you know what I mean? Because I will say this, when I took a gander at the schedule, I legitimately think we have a floor of 9-7, and I think our ceiling is like 11-5. So, you know what I mean? Like that's where I stand. But yeah, let's go ahead and smack through this schedule.
Okay, cool, man. Well, I'll just maybe run it week to week, and you can just pop in if you want, or we can do that vice versa, whatever you like, man.
No, let's do it. Let's rock.
All right, cool. So week 1, we get Arizona at home. Honestly, man, I know that they're the enemy in our division. I'm rooting for the Cardinals every game we don't play them.
Oh yeah,
I think they're gonna be very fun. Kyler's a beast. Nuke Hopkins is one of my favorite players in the league. Yep. The defense is going to be better. Very much excited about them. I love Kenyon Drake this year. He's my 7th running back right now in fantasy.
I do hate that he's going like early in the 2nd round because of the hype.
Yeah,
but I totally agree with you.
But that all being said, the Niners coming in hot with that defense, man, and Nuke and Kyler not having a full game to really figure each other out.
Or even in off season, even in full off season, yeah.
Yep. So we get that W.
I agree. We're taking the dub there. I'm calling. I call Arizona. I call them the new empire because they got Kyler Ren. They got Kyler Ren and Nuke Skywalker. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I love it. I love it.
Okay, let's go to week 2.
And honestly, man, I actually, talking everybody's schedules is kind of another take, but I really think that the Niners and the Seahawks are kind of the cream of the crop in that division. But I definitely could see the Cardinals surpassing the Rams this year
for sure
for the 3rd team in that division. So I think it's going to be a very, very difficult division all the way up and down. But basically, in short, I've got the Niners going 7-0. And I'm not going to get crazy. I definitely get more realistic on the second half. But here we go. Arizona at home. The Jets on the road, even cross country. The Jets are the Jets. The Niners
and then
get
the
that
Giants.
One. Giants, I think, is going to be a shootout. I think
it's also on the road, so we don't have to go nowhere. I really love that aspect of it. You know what I mean?
So we can stay in New York or in New Jersey technically. But yes, I'm with you. And honestly, I actually really like Daniel Jones.
He's one of my late round guys too. Him and
he has the most difficult fantasy schedule for quarterbacks, and that is one of these games is the Niners. So the Giants don't have a defense, and we have arguably one of the best, and I just don't think Daniel Jones and those weapons are going to be ready. And as long as we can maintain Saquon, which I think we'll be fine against the run, then we'll beat the Giants. Philadelphia back at home, they got to come to us across the country. I think we get that one. Sunday nighter. Then we go back across the country to Miami. This is what I don't like about this schedule, man. We're going like West Coast, East Coast for 2, back to the West Coast, East Coast for another one, back to the West Coast, East Coast again, back to the West Coast, Midwest. Like, that's a lot of travel for the Niners over the first 8 games of the season. And basically, I have them beating the Cardinals, the Jets, the Giants, the Eagles, the Dolphins, the Rams at home, at New England, because they're no longer the New England Patriots. I think they get that win. But I think our first loss comes in Seattle.
That's
just
Sunday.
Because
what is that, Sunday nighter too? Or no. Yeah.
Is it Monday?
No, it's definitely Sunday because then we have the short week. We play the Packers right after. That's right.
So
where it gets
we get our
fuzzy
first loss. That's going to be sticky. I mean, and the Niners. So last year, if we remember, the Niners and the Seahawks played 3 different times. And one of the playoffs, obviously, each game came down to the last play of the game. It's an incredible game.
Yeah.
I do think the Seahawks get us the first time in Week 8, but we get them back in Week 17, which we'll get to. But I have them going 7-0, losing the first game of the season in Seattle, beating the Packers. I think they're going to run all over them again.
Yeah.
I think they beat the Packers in Week 9, and then they lose to the Saints, and then we have our bye week. So I'm 8-2 so far.
I'm
up
with
to
you
our
on
bye
that
week.
one. I mean, I cannot argue or dispute this. I'm with you. 8-2. Let's go. Coming off the bye week.
8-2 to the bye week. All right, so the bye week we get healthy. You know, we're hopefully fucking really priming up for a playoff run. However, this is where I think my schedule kind of jumped out at me when I really looked at it. Even coming off of the bye week, we traveled down to LA. I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like we're going to get smacked by the Rams.
Well,
it's
think
in
about
LA.
this. The Rams, it's a new stadium. I mean, granted, if there's no fans, I think you can kind of take out the home field advantage. You know what I mean? But at the same time, or just in general across the league, right? But, bro, I really believe Sean McVay is just one of our kryptonites, man. You know what I mean?
Too. Yep.
Like-
well, and the Niners for years, even when, so if you dial it back maybe, 10, 15, 20 years even, when the Niners have been really good and the Rams have been bad, the Rams have still played the Niners well. Vice versa, when the Niners were horrible and the Rams were very good, the Niners still played them very well. These divisional games are always competitive.
Oh, yeah.
And I just, for some reason, man, of course, I don't want to put extra L's on the schedule for the Niners, but I just feel like a road game off of the bye week after a big, huge stretch of at New England, at Seattle, Green Bay, which is going to be a dogfight even with a W.
Yeah, on a
New
short week,
Orleans,
too.
Bye week, a short week, and then at the Rams. I really just think we might get kind of upended then. However, I think we clean it up. We go up.
Dang, so we got the extended bye now that I think about it, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, we got an extendo bye because of the fact that's that Thursday nighter against the Packers.
Yeah.
Where's that Packers
which is
game at?
nice.
Is that in Green Bay?
No, it's San Francisco.
Okay, nice. Because, I mean, I just feel like Rodgers gets destroyed every time he comes home.
Well, and again, I mean, look at that playoff game, The Niners played them late in the season, then they played them again in that playoff game. And frankly,
And as much as we're coming back looking like the same team as far as, position-wise and whatnot, they look like the same team, too. So if they're not able to stop this run, you know what I mean? Because they weren't able to stop the run all year last year.
And that's it. And unfortunately, the Packers, I mean, their draft was a joke anyway. But they didn't do anything on the defensive line to help them out against what we're bringing. So I think we get them. I do think the Saints beat us in New Orleans.
Yeah, they're always tough.
Then we get our bye week. We're at the Rams. That's going to be a tough one. I do think we maybe drop that one. But we get Buffalo and Washington back home.
And we're back in prime time.
Win those games.
Yeah.
But then actually, I've got us dropping. So I said we were 8-2 to the bye week in week 11. I've actually got us going 3-3 the rest of the season, though, to actually match what you mentioned. 11-5 is my record prediction. I have us losing to the Rams, but then beating Buffalo and Washington at home. But I think we're going to get beat by Dallas in Dallas. I think Arizona, we beat them that first week. They come back week 16. I think Arizona might actually cap us in Arizona, but then we get Seattle at home. We end on a victory, get ready for the playoffs. And I think the Niners will get, hopefully win the division. But if not, we'll definitely be the top wild card spot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's why I have our floor at 9-7 and then our ceiling at 11-5 because I mean I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo pulls that off in prime time. I wouldn't, I'm not saying that by any means about the Redskins, but then also I could go either way with the Cowboys game. And you know what I'm saying? I will tend to agree with you because that's one of those games. It's just a historic rivalry, an unnatural rivalry because, we're not obviously not in the same division, but, just historically, we always go to war with them boys. And I mean, pretty sure by this point of the season, because this is in December, by this point, Mike McCarthy might have that thing in full swing. You know what I mean? And you never know. It might even be the rifle. You know what I'm saying? You never know.
Oh, yeah. Well, either way, I mean, this offense is going to be deadly. They do get CeeDee Lamb. They already had two incredible receivers. They bring in arguably the best rookie receiver in the class.
Yeah.
They still have Zeke for another year. Dak is eventually going to get paid. So he'll be fine. That defense is going to get healthy. So, I have the Niners going 8-2 to the bye. I've got them 3-3 on the back half. I have them going 8-0 at home. So I'm excited about that for hometown Niner games. So 8-0 at home, but 3-5 on the road, which I just think is realistic, man. I mean, the teams we play on the road this year scare me. So our road games are the Jets, which I just think we beat no matter what. But the Giants, if Saquon gets loose and Daniel Jones is legit, all those weapons, if they're healthy, the Giants could surprise us. New England's New England. Even with Stidham, they're going to play. I mean, they're an incredible defense. Belichick's Belichick. We could drop that one. At Seattle, I already think we lose that. At New Orleans, I think we lose there. At the Rams, I think we lose that. At Dallas, at Arizona, I think we lose all those as well. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're we just smacked through the schedule. This is a fantasy question right here.
Sure.
I love the value that we're going to get on Debo. But, man, look at the array of cornerbacks he's going to play. Patrick Peterson twice. Granted, if these corners aren't, playing against Kittle. Because, sometimes, they'll put their number one corner on Kittle. But, for the most part, this is just if I'm assuming they'll always be on Debo. So you're going to have Patrick Peterson twice. I'm not afraid of the Seahawks twice. He is going to play Darius Slay once from the Eagles. He's going to play James Bradbury. That's with the Giants now. He's going to play against Stephon Gilmore from the Patriots, Tre'Davious White from the Bills, Xavier Howard from the Dolphins. Like, that's already, over 5 games that I'm already like, whoa, this is going to be kind of tricky here. You know what I mean? Jalen Ramsey. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen Jalen Ramsey when he was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He would man up Gronk. So maybe that game he would be on Kittle. But, it's kind of crazy. Maybe we should take a deep dive look at our rookie class here at receiver as far as super late. You know what I mean? Maybe more DFS plays if that, but because I'm kind of worried about Debo now, thinking about the schedule.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that's something great to bring up. And honestly, I'm still kind of, again, we're in May, so I'm still breaking up a bunch of these, stat charts and matchups and things like that. And actually, in a couple of weeks here on our program, we're going to be breaking down the fantasy schedules and the matchups. So I'm going to get into that. We did quarterbacks last week. We're doing running backs coming up. And then in 2 weeks, we got the receivers. So,
I'm tuning in, bro. I'm tuning in. I check you guys out all the time.
So I just want to be transparent, man, because I'm here to bring the big facts only, basically.
Of course.
And I haven't run all those through yet. However, I do know that our division has some of the toughest. I'm a super DK Metcalf guy. I love fucking DK Metcalf.
I love his sophomore outing this year.
Once the schedule came out, I pumped the brakes because he has arguably the most difficult.
He has the same schedule that I just said. He's gonna go up against all those same guys.
The difference is with DK. Well, it's kind of interesting with DK and Tyler Lockett, and then let's say Brandon Ayuk and Debo. It's who is the true number one, right? Who is the true? It's probably Debo, and it's probably DK Metcalf this year, I guess. But it has been Tyler Lockett. Who do they actually match up against?
I mean, they obviously picked up Carlos Hyde. And you know what I'm saying? So that might say a little bit more about the injury to Chris Carson.
That was a great pickup, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, he's
really
essentially a poor man's Chris Carson to me. Because they're both not really great after the catch by any means. They're kind of the same thing. They can run well between the tackles, but either way, I feel like that backfield. I mean, we might even see Russell Wilson get off more on the ground because his numbers on the ground have been kind of tapering off because they've been so good at running the ball, with their backfield. And I mean, with that bad secondary in Seattle, and I feel like their defense as a whole, I mean, they were up there in pressures against opposing quarterbacks. They were high up there in the league, but they were definitely down there as far as sack totals. And I feel like people they still kind of look at Seattle having that reputation. The residue from Legion of Boom type of shit, but their defense is trash, and the fact that they were owning time of possession, you know what I'm saying, majority of their games on the ground, kind of masked the fact that they had a bad defense. You know what I mean? And and I say all this to say that Russell Wilson being as phenomenal as he is, what's the hardest thing to replicate is efficiency, and being on a run first team and barely throwing 25 times a game and being like 18 for 25 and 4. Like, it's just incredible because he just continues to he's
so fucking good.
He's
dude.
so fucking good. And I think we might even throw in some more pass attempts to make my long story short.
Yeah, he should. And honestly, I mean, I rep. I don't like the Seahawks because I'm a 49er fan, but I live in Seahawk country. So the reality is I just see all the games. I hear all the shit. Honestly, dude, I say this all the time on our podcast. If Russell Wilson was able to be in, again, one of those pass first offenses,
like the Falcons you mentioned or something like that.
Yeah, dude. Or
somewhere that's going to throw.
I honestly believe this, man. If you took Mahomes and put him on the Seahawks and put Watson and put him on the Chiefs, I think they're probably going to mimic each other's efficiency. Like, Mahomes is incredible. I'm not discounting him.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is Russell Wilson, I think, legit could be what Patrick Mahomes is in that offense if he was able to fucking run and gun it like the Chiefs do.
What do guys like Russ and Patty and even like Kyler Ren, as I was calling him? They all got the what is it called? The baseball background. So
that's right.
You know what I mean? Being able to run on, and
accuracy,
and
bro.
the accuracy and throw from
Slinging
different angles and the sidearms and he got that. Like, where it's like where his height deficiency, as I like to call it, isn't a factor because of his game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll just add this. So we're talking about the schedule. We're talking about fantasy. I want to run this in again on our podcast, the Candlestick Kids Fantasy Podcast. We just released these couple episodes, so I just want to I got all this stuff literally right in front of me.
Shoot me those links. Like this episode should come out no later than tomorrow. So all the links you want me to throw it in the description, they're going in there. You know what I mean?
My man, cool. So I just want to run this down really quick for people to get an idea. So. So I'll talk about the quarterback and the running back right now for the 49ers. Obviously, so Jimmy G, and then we'll talk about Mostert and the rest of the guys as far as the position goes.
DJ
right?
Mostert.
So, there we go. So we did a whole breakdown of the quarterback fantasy schedules and what it looks like, and we did overall schedule, toughest and easiest. We also did the first 4 weeks, toughest and easiest, which is very important. I'm not going to get into that because it's a long-winded answer,
though, because it kind of could help dictate who you're targeting in your drafts because you want to start out the gate winning, obviously. So
yep,
you know what I mean. And then also the people that have a bad first 4 weeks, those would potentially be your trade targets when other motherfuckers get them, and you watch, you're like, haha, I'll wait till week 5 and then I'm shooting them offers. You know what I mean?
100%. So I'll run it down really quick. So the top 10 easiest schedules for fantasy. Jimmy Garoppolo has the 9th easiest, all right? The first 4 weeks, he's got the 4th easiest. Arizona, at the Jets, at the Giants, and Philadelphia. I like that a lot.
I love your analytics department, by the way.
Yeah, man, right on. At the running back position, the 49ers actually have the 4th easiest schedule for running back. So it's at Arizona at home, at the Jets, at the Giants, Philadelphia, obviously the same schedule. But as far as the matchups go for Mostert and Coleman for now, they have the 4th easiest. New England, Chicago, and Seattle have the 3 better than they do in the first 4 games. My short version on the first 4 games for quarterback, it's important if you have late round streamers, because if Jimmy Garoppolo goes off in 4 games, right, then you either have Trey bait or he's the real
and
deal.
Me,
or
I'm in the Bay Area. There's gonna be a fellow Niner fan in my league. I'll be able to dangle one Jimmy G. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. But likewise, if say you go with Mahomes or Kyler or Dak or Watson or somebody early on, and either they're not playing well, something happens, one of their weapons gets hurt, whatever, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I kind of need some help. All of a sudden, Jimmy G could potentially be like that kind of a guy. Likewise with Mostert and Coleman, if they go nuts in 4 games, you may not count on that or want their low floor or low ceiling, I should say, steady floor. You might be able to package up one of those guys with somebody else, ship them off,
and bring you back one of them first rounders that you missed out on, or one of them early second rounders. You know what I mean? How
about this, man? Here's guys to target right away. Saquon Barkley. We won't. Nobody has anything negative to say about my
unless you've been under a rock. You know what I mean?
Sure, but he faces Pittsburgh, 28th matchup, Chicago 22nd, Niners 36th, and the Rams at 19. First 4 games. If Saquon struggles and he's like the RB 17 somehow in the first month of the season, That's the only time you're ever going to be able to buy Saquon Barkley.
Playmakers, write that down, Playmakers.
Yo, and if that goes for, let's see, I'm going to run through my list really quick. That goes for Le'Veon Bell is the 30th matchup. Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the Chiefs, 29th.
The Fresh Prince of Hilaire.
28th. There it is, man. Melvin Gordon and Lindsey, 27. Nick Chubb and Hunt, 26.
I'm excited with Melvin Gordon under that Pat
Cook,
Shurmur
25.
system.
Henry, 24. I mean, all these guys, like top end, I'm looking at my list here, and like 6 of the top 10 running backs that everybody has consensus, 6 of them have one of the toughest 10 schedules in the first 4 weeks of the season. So again, I'm not saying don't draft these guys. What I am saying is pay attention. If they flop, right, then it's a potential to probably buy them, because they're going to be at their season low as far as value goes. And if Mostert goes off, or you have fucking Demont and he goes off with the second best schedule, or Jordan Howard randomly, or somebody like that, Chris Carson, if he stays healthy, trade him before he gets fucking hurt again, and you have that opportunity to maybe pick up a bigger stud because of the scheduling.
And you know what? I love that you brought up Demont, because, or as I like to call him, Monty Burns, because he definitely, people feel burned by him because of the draft capital and the hype where people were pulling him up too early last season.
He's legit, man.
But he's legit, and he put up 1,000. I think like 1,100 all-purpose. I'm just saying this off the top of my head. I know I'm somewhere in the ballpark, but I call him Monty Burns also because when he flashes, I go excellent. You know what I mean?
Love it.
Yeah, little Simpsons reference there. You know what I'm saying? But okay. What else you got for me? Because I got one more question before we close this thing out. But I love your analytics department, man. Like I love, these are great tidbits for the Playmakers.
Yeah, man, 100%. So I'm just going to run through. Actually, I'll run through Demont really quick. I know it's a Niners episode, but he's actually one of my guys that I'm really bullish on this year. So you mentioned 242 carries, which is, dude, anywhere close to 250 is great for any running back.
And where we're going to get him. We're getting him in the mid-rounds right now. Oh, yeah.
He had 889 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, 25 receptions, even with Tariq Cohen there, 185 through the air, and just 1 touchdown, but I think that upgrades. I think David Montgomery easily gets 250 carries, 1,000 rushing yards, 8 rushing touchdowns. Let's give him 200 receiving yards and maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns. You're talking about probably a top 15 back.
I love that. High-end RB2. Love it.
High-end RB2, man. And let's see, I'm going to bring up my rankings here to make sure I'm telling you what I believe. But I know that I'm higher on him than a lot of people, because I do believe that the Bears get their shit together. I don't think Nick Foles is that good. I don't think he's that much better than Mitch Trubisky, but he is going to be more efficient and make less mistakes, which is going to help. I've got Demont right now in full PPR at 19. And again, that's a top 20 back. He's right behind Melvin Gordon and Le'Veon Bell for me. So you put him in that thing, you're able to get David Montgomery in like the 6th round, dude. I mean, that's a steal all day.
Dial up Monty Burns. Dial him up. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Well, I know in the show sheet, it was something I kind of missed out in the beginning, but over here at the Real Fantasy Playmakers, right here on the GMM network, we care about our colleagues. You know what I'm saying? You are one of my peers in the fantasy industry, and so I just want to ask you, man, how you been dealing with the quarantine, man? Because we are on the West Coast. You know what I mean? We're not open. I know the rest of the world is starting to open up, and this is a loaded question. It does have something to do with the Niners. Do you buy into the Niners? Perhaps playing somewhere else this season, because I mean I know everything. I know we went through the schedule, but for the most part, everything is TBD. Everything is to be determined.
Yeah. First of all, man, just on a human level, I super appreciate rapping with you, bro. Like, it's always a good time to come on your podcast and have some fun and kick back a lot, because on our episodes we're so analytic based, which I love to do and nerd out, but like, it's not as free flow as you make it. So you make it very comfortable. You make it very fun. It's a real good time, man. So I really appreciate coming on here.
It does help that I'm trying to get Bud Light to sponsor me. So I'm just definitely, Bud Light, give me money. They're definitely fueling. They're the unofficial sponsor. They definitely fuel the podcast. And it makes it more free flowing. You know what I mean?
Bro, I love that. It's like that reminds me of a Tech 9 song about Caribou. And at the very end, Tech is basically like, yo, this song's dedicated to Caribou because I drink it, but they're not paying me yet,
151 in pineapple juice, 151 in Malibu. Bro,
That's right.
okay,
That's right.
listen, real quick side note. I worked for an online magazine back in the day called Worldwide West Side. They don't exist anymore. And I interviewed, I interviewed the who's who in the industry. This was about 15 years ago. We used to, at the time, saying we got like maybe 30,000 clicks a month. So it was pretty big for some young kids, starting an online magazine. And I interviewed Tech Nine and partied with him. And like, full disclosure, I may or may have not have had a pocket full of Molly, and like he was just like, "Where's it at?" And like, bro, we fucking partied with Tech Nine, bro. Like he said the same thing. He was like, "This is one of my," because I am an artist, so a lot of the questions I was asking was about like the recording process and stuff I'm actually interested in, and we touched on at the time he was dropping Ever Ready. That was that album, and he was also promoting that Justin Timberlake movie because his songs were all over the soundtrack, but. I think what was it, Alpha Dog? I think that was the movie, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Tech Nine was just like, man, this was one of the greatest interviews I've ever had, bro.
Awesome.
And I know I was like, because I was actually a fan of Tech Nine. Even my boy, my boy that ran the magazine, he also did interviews, and I told him I was like, step aside, I'm doing this one. You know what I mean? I was like, Tech Nina's my guy. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah. That's awesome, and yeah, the movie is definitely Alpha Dog.
Yeah,
I've been a Tech fan for forever, man, and just the way that he flows and everything else has been great, and obviously like the lyrical content I don't relate to for the most part. However, the flow and his ability to change up flow styles,
switch up the gears,
incredible. And I've been into hip hop. I've been making beats and rapping since I was like 12 years old.
Yep.
So
I actually
really
appreciate your
that.
content. We're definitely gonna throw those links again of your music, man, because you guys got an original sound. Like you guys are on my playlist, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like,
right on, man. Well, I appreciate that. Well, if you wouldn't mind, maybe float it over to Tech, and we'll have to get him onto a cut.
Yes, friend of the show, Tech Nine.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
Nice, man. Yeah, just shoot him a text real quick. That would help us out.
Should I patch him in?
yeah, totally. So again, just to dial back here, so we can wrap up your episode for you. Like, again, on the human level, I appreciate you, man, a lot for just being a positive spirit, a big spirit and energy in the scene, and an otherwise kind of sterile format sometimes. So big up yourself and the network.
Thank you.
The Rum Boys crew, who I haven't been able to link with y'all yet on that format, but I know that the Commish boys have, who are good friends of us, and
shout out to the Commish boys.
Other guys have also, been on there. So I've tuned in a few Fridays myself. I just haven't been able to get on the program yet, but we'll figure it out. But anyway,
well, you know what? I know, I'm in there, so I'll be able to, every so often, actually every other week, we always bring in a fellow cast member. A fellow guest host. And yeah, man. But there is a prerequisite. We do sit there and get smashed. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? You might need to make sure you have a clear Saturday. You know what I mean? We'll definitely bring you in.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. I'm excited about that. But, as far as the COVID goes and the quarantine, bro, like, obviously it's kind of a heavy topic for everybody. Everyone's dealing with it similarly, but very differently. For me personally, my day job, I work for the largest media company in the United States, and I'm working that from home, it's cool because I can work from home, and the missus is home working all day, and she's actually she's a health coach and does a lot of different things in the health trade. So she teaches aerobics classes and shit, Pilates and yoga and all these meditations and stuff from our living room. So I'm quarantined to a fucking bedroom most of the time because I got to give her space and respect that. We've also got a teenager in school. She's a sophomore, so she's crushing out homeschooling and killing it, thankfully. But it's different, man. It's definitely different, and unfortunately, I'm blessed to just have a job, man. I really am, and I'm looking to make fantasy football more of a real thing these days. But at the end of the day, man, music and my career, which again, that's another conversation for us. But I was a nationally touring musician for over a decade, and that has just fucking poof, gone.
Yeah.
It just doesn't exist for real. So I'm trying to turn the page on that. I used to book artists of every genre, nationally, internationally, booking tours and shows and festivals and all this stuff. And I just there's literally nothing in that realm right now. So I'm trying to just balance things. Emotionally, I'm okay. I'm holding up well. My girls are well. We're doing okay. But I miss my friends, bro. I'm a hugger, dude. I'm an in-person homie, and I miss my people. And I'm just blessed that the fantasy football industry has really kind of given me a minute to appreciate the people in the space. It's helped me further connect with individuals like yourself and others because I have a little more time on my hands. I'm at home. I have more time to put to fantasy football instead of working around the clock all the time. So for that, I'm blessed. And again, I'm just thankful to have a job where I know that a lot of friends and family out there, unfortunately, have been let go or their job doesn't exist. So blessings to all them. But, I'm really just trying to be thankful for what I've got and just continue to move forward in a positive light best I can.
And I do want to add, you know what I mean, that I appreciate you and the rest of the TCK crew because, because of quarantine, and having extra time on my hands, I've been able to, like, deep dive in all different kind of content that I appreciate, you know what I mean? Like, so you guys have you guys have definitely been on the playlist. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, man.
People that I check. Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Because, you know what I mean? That's what it's about. Playmakers, one thing that you can't really find every time, even before the apocalypse hit, is which I'm, for fun, been calling it, even though it's not that fun. Before the apocalypse hit, like, I step out the house to find inspiration. And, like, I guess with that said, I'm fortunate to, have the extra time and be able to find inspiration by listening to podcasts like the TCK, or even like I've been with the Rum Boys now. Literally the week that it shut down, I became official with them. You know what I'm saying? And like, bro, like they're the closest thing I have these Fridays, like to kicking it with my boys. Like, you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
You know what I mean? Because we're just sitting there getting faded. We're talking sports. Shit I used to do on the regular with my with the homies. You know what I mean? And like. Yeah, I mean, I'm a half glass full type of guy, and yes, it might have some vodka in it. You know what I mean? But bro, that's just, you know what I mean? Like if they could give us lemons, the cliche, we're gonna make lemonade, and yes,
right.
Yes, my lemonade might have some vodka in it. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know what I mean? Okay, so now we're really gonna wrap this thing up. Are the Niners? Are we in danger of not playing in Levi's this year? Like,
that is definitely up in the air. I don't think so. I don't think so because I just don't think so. I don't think the NFL is going to have us. I'm really worried about college sports, but that's a different situation. The NFL, I think, will proceed simply because it makes way too much fucking money for the people in charge to not have a league. What I think will happen, and this is my bold prediction, I guess, in May, without knowing anything actually, is that we will have NFL without fans, and the players will be quarantined themselves. They'll all be fucking taking tests and doing all the shit all season long, right? Because they got to play each other and touch each other, and fucking coaches are passing paperwork back and forth and all this shit, team flights, the whole thing. I mean, it's going to be an absolute shit show. But I do think it happens. I don't think that the Niners or any other NFL team is at jeopardy of not playing in their stadium. However, you and I quickly broached this before we popped on the podcast, and I think a remedy to that situation that could happen is that maybe they pick a stadium in each division that makes the most sense. Like you mentioned, the Cardinal Stadium for the NFC
just Arizona
West.
In general, just because
Arizona.
Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe like some of those states that have opened up, Georgia or something, they can open up a stadium in an area where it's a little more comfortable, and they can play all of those divisional games when it makes sense with the schedule with that. Now, the problem, obviously, is if hypothetically, so let's say just week 5 or something, I'm making it up, but like if the Rams, the Niners, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals are all supposed to have home games that week, they obviously cannot all play in one fucking stadium.
Yeah.
So that is a problem. However, maybe the NFL does like Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday games.
Ooh, that's
or
a
something.
good solution.
Because there's no
college ball.
I don't think there's going to be college football, man. I really don't.
I would love football and NFL. Like, when at the end of the year, I love those games, like the Saturday games.
Here's my quick thought on that. And again, people, I'm not a fucking doctor. I don't actually know shit. This is just my gut feeling and just hearing and reading stuff.
But we over here at the Real Fantasy Playmakers, we value Sky's opinion. You know what I'm saying? His opinion comes highly recommended, Playmakers.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My thing is, like, I live in a college town, right? Eugene, Oregon is one of the biggest college towns on the West Coast, certainly in the Northwest, outside of Washington University and Washington State and whatnot. So I just don't think college sports can last without the endorsements and without the ticket sales of what the students and the student body overall produce to the stadium, right? Because they, quote unquote, don't compensate the players, right? But the biggest thing is, like, in the NFL, they don't need fans. They have commercials, they have playtime, they have radio, they have jersey sales, they have all this shit that makes money anyway for the NFL. So even if the NFL took a fucking, $1 billion hit, it would be fine.
Yeah.
For college sports,
Detrimental.
It's detrimental, man. They don't have the endorsements because these companies aren't necessarily the same. They don't have the same travel packages. College game day cannot be traveling all over the country necessarily in the way that they do.
And because then the student body travels with them too.
Exactly, 100%.
You know what I mean?
You can't be having, and here's something, obviously NFL tailgates as well, but the NFL could easily shut down a tailgate, no problem. College sports, man, like as a college kid, 90% of going to the fucking game is tailgate.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in the student section, you get a free ticket. 80% of those kids that go to the games don't give a fuck less about the football game. They go to party, they go to hang with their homies.
Yeah,
and
they're going out there trying to procreate, man.
Exactly. So, that's the type of shit where I just think it's cut and dry that I think college football is in much more realistic dire straits to have a season than the NFL. I think the NFL happens. I do not think college football happens, unfortunately, but I will say again, I don't actually know any of that. I just have a gut feeling.
Yeah, man. But you know what, though? You know what I'm saying? I've spent some time in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? You got to go with your gut sometimes, Playmakers.
Yes, that's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Right.
And you know what? Over here at the Real Fantasy Playmakers, with our GMM network affiliates, the TCK pod, you know what I mean? I want to put my stamp of approval on everything he says. That's why I'm so happy to bring you back on, Sky. Man, it was a pleasure. I know we definitely went over like 20 minutes.
Cool. But pretty good. I mean, we're rapping, man. I'm into it.
Yeah, man, and you know what I'm saying? I appreciate you because, man, you're very thorough. You're very invested. You know what I'm saying? And I strongly believe in you get out what you put in, and the investment of your guys' time and you and the whole squad. Shout out to Lucas and everybody else, man. Like what you guys do over there is uncanny. It rivals any other faction. You know what I'm saying? And man, I'm just pleasured to have this coalition with you, man. You know what I mean?
Thanks, bro. Likewise, and again, shouts out to you and the Rum Boys crew, and we will further connect the GMM network. We're all just getting off the ground together, and the biggest thing, the best thing we can do is just support each other.
Oh yeah.
And again, I super appreciate it, and I'm rooting for y'all, and I'm really excited, dude. And
you got us in your corner, bro. You know what I'm saying?
We'll have to do it again real soon, man. I appreciate you.
Okay, one more thing. And I know this sounds crazy because I keep saying one more thing, but let them know one more time where to find you and where to find all the wonderful content and all that ill analytics, because that's one thing I love about you guys the most is that you guys really get to brass tacks. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's just bro, it's crazy. It's almost unrivaled. Like I said, you know what I mean?
Well, thanks, man. That means a lot. Again, we do put a lot of time and energy and effort into that, and definitely appreciate it.
You get out what you put in, and that's why the content is up to par, and it sets the bar even. You know what I mean?
My man, I appreciate it. So GMM Network, if you're looking for the analytics and you're looking for the numbers-based analysis, please come and check us out. You can check out our rankings that are currently up and active, and we're constantly updating those with our articles as well at tckpod.com. That's TCK as in the Candlestick Kids pod.com. Find us on Instagram at fantasyfootball_TCKpod, on Twitter at TCK_pod. And then you can also listen to our podcast. We're dropping Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays up until July, and then we will go 4 a week. And once the season starts, we got 5 days a week we'll be doing our podcast. That's the Candlestick Kids. You can find that anywhere you listen to your podcast, Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever. And we also have a YouTube channel we just started as well, so make sure to please subscribe, leave a comment, help us out with any interactions, and I would really, really appreciate that. So, Bogart, man, it's always a shout. And before we get out of here, I want to give one more shout-out to a Niner that we need to give some love to, because my man got another contract. Forever rooting for him. Future Hall of Famer, my man Frankie G.
Oh, yeah, the Tank. Frank the Tank, the immortal one.
Big ups to Frank the Tank. Also, I'm going to leave you with the bold prediction here, and we're going to get out of here. My bold prediction is Frank Gore has more rushing touchdowns than Le'Veon Bell this year.
Ah, that's bold. I love that. Oh, the Jamaicans love that too. Hey, because you know what, too? If they can get that thing together over there with the Jets and somehow play with some, if they're playing with a lead in the fourth quarter and they need to chew this clock up, it's Frank the Tank even, man, with his old man strength and his old man's hands and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think I think Le'Veon Bell's his mid-round draft capital. Like, I've been seeing him go a lot in the fifth round and late fourth. But more so the fifth round. I actually like him there, but he's gonna belong there because he's gonna get some touches eaten and he's gonna get some touches cannibalized from our man Frank the Tank, and more importantly, the goddamn goal line touches, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you right now, that's not just steam. I really believe that shit. So Frank Gore, more rushing touchdowns than Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, man, and I like how you set it up. I like how you started it off. You started off the pod with some fireworks, and you set it. You're leaving it off in a blaze. I love that take. You know what I mean? Sky, once again, man, thank you for letting us have you back, man. Letting us welcome you back. It was awesome. You know what I mean? This was a no-brainer. And man, thanks again, bro.
Let's do it again soon, brother. I appreciate having you, man.
We will do. You know what I'm saying? I will be having my people call your people. You know what I mean?
Let's do it.
For sure, man. Take it easy, man. You be safe.
You as well.
For sure, brother. Peace. Yeah. Once again, that was Sky from the Candlestick Kids podcast. I'm going to get all the links in the description. You know what I'm saying? Playmakers, y'all be safe. You know what I mean? Get money. Shout out to all our sponsors. You know what I'm saying? milkandhoneytx.com. You know what I'm saying? Monkey Knife Fight. Use promo code RUNBOYS. We'll match your first deposit all the way up to $50. Let's get this money. Hey. One second.